Hey, what's up, guys? It is the Tyrant here once again, continuing where we left off with the rise and fall of Halo. Today's topic of discussion is Halo 2. And I know what you're all thinking. Oh, come on, Tyrant. Please don't tell me you're going to smear my favorite game all over again. This is becoming like an annual tradition for you. Relax, don't worry. Even though most of my Legacy subscribers know that Halo 2 isn't exactly my favorite in the series, today I want to focus on all of the good Halo 2 did and why the series would have never been as good without it. In fact, believe it or not, most of my qualms with Halo 2 come from the fact that time constraints and hardware limitations are what ultimately kept it from becoming the ultimate Halo experience. Had Microsoft allowed Bungie more time, or dare I say it, made Halo 2 the launch title for the Xbox 360, they would have solved both those issues right off the bat. But how about the game we did receive from Bungie? Right out of the box, I have to acknowledge that when it comes to the standalone story of Halo 2, Bungie couldn't have hit it more on the nose. That is, as long as we're not factoring in the cliffhanger ending.
Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship?
Sir, finishing this fight.
Now remember in my last video how much I talked about how much I cherish the story of the original game. Well, as it turns out, Halo 2 pretty much followed nearly the exact same formula and even gave us a brief backstory. My theory is this. Because Halo 2 was being released so late in the Xbox's life cycle, Microsoft knew that a lot more people had Xboxes now, and because of that, and surrounding all the hype of Halo 2, for many this would be their very first Halo experience. So let's draw some parallels here. Both games begin with a mission taking place on a UNSC spacecraft, and your enemies mainly consist of grunts and elites. Once that mission is done, you move on to the surface of an organic world. In the first game, that was Halo. In Halo 2, it was Earth. You then spend the third mission of both games trying to get aboard a Covenant ship. See where I'm going with this? As the games progress, the Flood accidentally get released and are fought heavily by Forerunner's technology. The goal soon turns to finding the index to activate the ring, only to come across the realization of Halo's true purpose, and finally the ultimate goal is to stop the ring from being activated and the plan ultimately succeed. Yeah, spoiler alert. So as you can see, while Halo 2 has a few deviating plot points, the games for the most part are very much the same. The difference? Well, that's where the true rise of Halo begins, my friends. Now, we could sit here and talk about how the musical score was cranked up to 11 or how the character dynamics truly shined, but that's not what always makes a great game. That might work great for movies, but video games need the mechanics and the experience to stand out. And this is the major place where Halo 2 exceeds its predecessor. Keep in mind, in the last video I mentioned that Halo Combat Evolved was the launch game for the original Xbox and served as more of a field test to showcase to gamers exactly what the next generation of consoles could do. We were fairly limited in terms of what weapons and vehicles we could use, and Halo 2 sought to expand that universe. Right off the bat, we could use things that we saw in Halo 1 but couldn't really use to our advantage. Of course, I'm talking about the powerful fuel rod cannon, the deadly energy sword, and of course the menacing Wraith. Heck, that right there was the most I really wanted out of Halo 2, but Bungie took it even further by expanding the overall selection. On the human side, we saw a bit of a trade-off. The assault rifle and the classic pistol were scrapped in favor of the SMG and the now ever so popular Halo 2 battle rifle. They did technically have the Halo 2 Magnum available as well, just in case you're one to love the concept of a sidearm. They even gave the rocket launcher a homing upgrade. I mean, how badass is that? And of course for vehicles, the all-new Gauss Warthog quickly became a fan favorite and to this day is certainly one of mine. Now, in addition to what I've already mentioned about the Covenant arsenal, we gained the new Powerhouse Carbine, which, believe it or not, was the one weapon in the game that was most like the pistol in Halo 1. We got the Beam Rifle, which was basically a sniper rifle you never had to reload as long as you remember to face your shots, and the wall-bouncing grenade launcher we now come to know as the Halo 2 Brute Shot and have never seen since. We even had a brute answer to the Plasma Rifle, Red and Rapid Fire. They even added the Spectre to counter the UNSC Warthog, which may have not really been much, but I still used it from time to time. And technically you could use the Covenant Shadow in the second mission. You couldn't drive it, but you could use the cannon if you had the daring ability to get on board. Oh, and if that wasn't enough, you could even use the Sentinel beam along with its blue-colored counterpart. Speaking of weapons, did I mention you could trade them with your allies? Giving them extreme power weapons and infinite ammo? I mean, come on! And that was one thing I forgot to mention in the last video that I really wanted to bring up. The concept of allies was something I'd always wanted in the game. I never liked the concept of having to fight alone, and Halo not only worked to change that dynamic, but with the added weapon swap and the ability to actually drive vehicles, they made them so much more relevant in Halo 2. But let's face it, what are good are some of those weapons without the concept of dual wielding? That's right, you can now hold two guns at once, and they didn't even have to be the same gun. You could mix and match at your own will. That I loved, and it's still a dynamic that I miss today. But even as great as all those things are, the main mechanic that has stood the test of time in the Halo series is the ability to board vehicles and either kick out the driver completely or just toss in a grenade and blow the whole thing to pieces. I mean, how cool is that? I had never seen a game where you could pull that off before. This was just one more way to show that Halo was well ahead of its time and other developers were frantically crawling around trying to find ways to compete with it. But we still haven't gotten to the best part yet. The core of the adrenaline and the excitement for most Halo fans came in the form of, and here we go, drumroll please, Halo being available on Xbox Live. It's not that split screen was bad or anything, but finally being able to have your own screen to yourself for those big team battles and getting the chance to play with both friends and strangers all across the world with the addition of matchmaking, this took Halo 2 a whole entirely different level. This was a feature that would ultimately capture the hearts of millions of gamers from all over the world and made Halo a franchise which left all others in the dust. The rise of Halo wasn't coming. It was already here and bringing with it an unstoppable momentum. In the next video, we'll be following this momentum straight into the next generation of gaming and how the Halo franchise reached a climax that completely shattered the gaming world. I want to thank you guys so much for watching again. I'd love it if you'd follow me on both Facebook and Twitter. I love hearing from each and every one of you, and don't forget, your comment could be the next one that gets featured in an upcoming video. And speaking of comments, I want to hear from you in the comment section below on what your first Halo experience was and if that was a true game changer for you as a gamer. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below so you can catch all new gaming videos I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's always great to see you guys. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you right back here on Monday. And as always, I am the Tyrant, signing off.